contract.
CCIJ utilizes advocacy, coordination, and legal services to fight for the liberation of immigrants in detention in California. We seek to empower immigrants in detention and their communities through technical assistance, education, and participatory defense strategies, while also advancing advocacy, policy, and litigation initiatives that are consistent with the goals of abolition and freedom for immigrants in detention.
Liberation for estamos aquí por amor y libertad para.
Ready.
We really try to move beyond traditional legal services models to really sort of think big picture. We really want to also make sure that we're centering our work among those most impacted and also make sure that we're pushing advocacy goals.
We know that our immigration system is rooted in oppression and racism. And we know in particular that Black and Latinx immigrants, because they're disproportionately targeted by our criminal legal system, they're also then funneled into the detention system. When we talk about who is in immigration detention, we can't do that without talking about who is in the criminal legal system and the racial disparities that impact that system. And so for that reason, I think immigration detention and fighting against immigration detention has to be a part of a broader fight to fight against the carceral state and all of these systems that are impacting and oppressing communities of color in the United States.
So the good thing when you're working to abolish a system of oppression is that you're also creating. And at CCIJ, we're not only, creating with community that's outside, with advocates, with organizers, but also, and most importantly, with community leaders that are detained, with impacted folks and leaders in detention. We want to have an open space for impacted folks to be able to tell their stories as well.
Just seeing the shell-shocked faces of everyone, and we're trying to understand what is going on. We don't know much. One of the first very alarming things was having to shower naked and exposing ourselves to the staff and to other detainees, and trying to say something about it, and just basically told them this is the way it is.
The 24 hours after someone is detained by immigration authorities are really crucial to determining what the outcome of their case may be. And so rapid response really developed as a mechanism to defend against expected raids. There are networks of volunteers out in communities across the state of California, and we work with those grassroots organizations to provide attorney assistance. If someone calls in and says that an arrest has occurred by ICE in their community, the rapid response hotline will verify that information and then pass it along so that an attorney from CCIJ or one of our partners can respond and try to provide emergency legal assistance both to the individual as well as sharing information back with the family.
If you or a neighbor are in danger of being arrested or deported by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, call this number. A dispatcher will stay on the phone with you and remind you of your rights.
Immigrants in detention face a lack of legal representation, not only due to geographic and language barriers, but because immigration law is extremely confusing and difficult to understand. That's why CCIJ coordinates a legal clinic that takes place each Friday, bringing together immigration attorneys from all across California to provide free immigration consultations for immigrants in detention. Additionally, we collect data on every interaction we have with immigrants in detention so that we're able to tell stories about the lives of immigrants and the paths that they have to take through the immigration legal system.
While we do provide legal service consultations and we make sure that individuals understand what their legal rights are and what potential remedies can be, we also hear from them. What do they need inside detention? What are the abuses that they're seeing? How can we support them? How can we support their own campaigns and efforts inside the detention centers when they're organizing, when they're becoming their own leaders to really push for the change that they need to see?
Hello, my name is Salvador Luna. Hector Ramirez. Jesus.
Serafín Andrade.
Ernesto Estrada. Fidel Garcia.
Tom Bradley. Jose Carlo.
They, more than anyone, knows what's happening inside detention. So CCIJ works as a bridge in order for them to show those stories of things that are happening inside. This is April 7th, 2020. They weren't being provided liquid soap, paper towels, gloves.
Our Vaccine Education and Empowerment in Detention, or VED program, provides folks inside with information about the COVID vaccine and boosters that's easy to understand and in the language of their choice, empowering them to make a better informed decision about their own health care. Earlier this year, we advocated at the local, state, and federal level, along with partners, to make sure that vaccines were being made available. Now we're continuing that work, advocating again on the state and local levels to make sure that boosters are available for folks in immigration detention.
With advocacy, we use the information that we've gathered to really push for changing laws.
AB 3228 is an area where CCIJ uses legal strategy and advocacy to help people in detention. In 2021, one of CCIJ's big projects was collaborating to get AB 3228 passed. AB 3228 is a new California law that holds private detention operators accountable.
Corporations are given contracts from our government to run immigrant detention facilities by promising they can do it safer, cheaper, and better.
Private detention operators must follow specific standards, and if they break those standards and people in detention are harmed by those violations, they have the opportunity to sue under this law.
We have a responsibility to coordinate and collaborate with organizers and advocates inside and outside of detention to help build the movement towards abolition of immigration detention.
I can't begin to explain how happy it makes me feel when someone is released from detention and I get to save their phone number in my contacts.
We're committed to fighting ISIS and inhumane tactics through collaboration, strategy, and community strength because we believe in a world where no one is subject to incarceration or family separation.
Vale.